So in this section, we're going to talk about cancer and fake news. And please don't take it so serious. I'm just going to tell you a story that happened to me when I was listening to a super incredible speaker, professor of the professor that has his own company with billions of dollars. And while he was talking, I got distracted because I was looking for some of the information that he was talking about, and I missed half of his presentation because of fake news that I wanted to show you. Okay, so uh, you will find so many fake news related to cancer, and they are so easy to get confused about that. And the idea is that we find tips to spot if these articles or this information is correct or no, and if how do we differentiate between all those things. So we know that fake news have become a full-blown crisis affecting different aspects of the society, and after the pandemic we know that it was even worse. And the idea here is that I wanted to provide you with tools so you can differentiate and take decisions about different fake news in biology and in particular in cancer. So, for example, with sunscreen right now, this is the new debate. Like, do we use it? Do we shouldn't use it? Who is the people that is saying should you use it? What is the people that say you shouldn't use it? And hopefully, at the end of the course, you have some tools to decide some of those questions. Uh, on some of your research projects, one of the papers will talk about science communication, and also we'll use as an example sunscreens. Okay, so multiple times I told you the importance about science communication. That is the way that we communicate to the public about science related topics to non-experts. So science we generally think is when we're done when we publish the paper. However, science is not the scientific method, the scientific process is not done until we are able to communicate to the public. So that was the problem when scientists were trying to cure lung cancer until we were not able to communicate efficiently with the community, with the public, and said, one of the reasons why you get so much, why there is so much lung cancer is because smoking is associated with cancer. And there are many experts on science communication, but we still need more. Actually, in my opinion, the government need not only to fund research, but need to fund efficient science communicators in the future. So hopefully that happen. Right now is a field that although is growing, and there are degrees in some universities that are promoting this kind of information. A lot of that is done in YouTube or done um, by independent people working on these shows or having their YouTube channel, and there should be more ways to um, to promote science communication. Imagine how much money would the government have saved if everybody have used masks and vaccinated. So we have not so many business have closed, but let's see what happen in the future if governments also realize the importance of science communications. So uh, I'm going to show you an example of how a scientific article can turn into something completely different when it goes to the public. Okay, and why is so important to talk about fake news and cancer? Because cancer is such a popular topic for the media because people care and worry about family members that are going through that situation. And we know that, as I told you, 1 out of 4 Canadians is expected of died of cancer, not when they are young, but when they are in their 80s, 90s, you know, so very late. But still, this is something that everybody is worried, and there will be always miracle cures, and there is a huge industry that talk about this organic. and not that I'm against anything organic, but there are many of those products that don't have approval, yeah, because they don't require that approval. So they can anybody can prescribe it, and they in many of the cases don't have any effect. So uh, so I don't know if you have watched many talk shows that they talk about miracle cure, wonder drug, a breakthrough, and it's actually nothing. So I think it's Dr. Oz that he always talk about this, and he has been found that every time that he talk about this is because somebody's paying him to promote a drug. So the idea is that today I want that we think together. Uh, uh, what should you look out when you're reading news about cancer research? And I want that you think about the 6 point. Who wrote it? What they wrote? Where is this information published? When it was published? How many samples? How many patients that were studied? And how much? Yeah. So how expensive it is, and who is advertising that information, and who is making money from that. Okay, so these six are 6 points that we need to take into consideration when every time that we hear about fake news. So we're going to start with this tree. Okay, and I'm going to show you an example. So this is something fascinating, so I want that you read this abstract with me, and I want to show you the difference when a scientist reads something, yeah, and how we need scientists that are able to transmit and disseminate the scientific knowledge. This job cannot be done for it. Like anybody cannot make this connection. If not, things can go very wrong. So journalists should have a connection in the scientific training. So this is the paper. I wonder you reach the title. Yeah, delightful title. Yeah, the synthesis and functional evaluation of a mitochondrial target hydrogen sulfide donor. That part I cannot read it. And the this chemical, I even in Spanish I will not be able to read it. I will give you A plus if you can read it. Okay, so this is the title. So right now we see that even for us, even to read the title is difficult. Now I want that you read with me the abstract. Okay, try to stop the video and uh, you can read it by yourself and try to think what they are talking about. Okay, so here um, they are talking about uh, this hydrogen sulfide, yeah, that is involved and is perturbing many diseases, yeah. In some, and so they are trying to see the metabolism of that, and they are trying that the inhibition of this can be stress induced in a type of cell that are the endothelial cell death that is covering the blood vessels, and that this could be have is very important. So studying cell death is important to study cancer. Okay, so the question is, what do you think that happened? How this idea was communicated, and how would you transmit this idea to the public? Okay, so it's a complex idea. How would you be able to explain it to a kid? Yeah, to somebody that is or a teenager. How would you transfer that idea to somebody that is an adult but it doesn't work in science? Okay, so it's not easy. It's definitely not easy. And here you will see the entire paper. And here you see different blocks. And I wanted you in groups. I'm going to break you into groups, and I want that you read it and talk about it. And so you think about how about the following questions. Yeah, so you need to don't read the entire article. Try to read the acknowledgement. That is an important section to read an article. When you talk about cancer, if they said, we don't have any interest, or if they said we receive money from this company, that is very important. The materials and methods is very important. Why? Because here is when they said how many samples they study. If they study one patient, two patient, if they was in vitro, if it was in vitro is an initial experiment. If it was in flies, it was the next step. If it was in zebrafish or mice, it was getting closer to clinical trials. If it was a clinical trial, how many patients? It was a double blind. What here is the key information. Yeah, so we read the abstract. Here is important, and the materials and methods. And you will find different blocks. So if you are with two students, you can divide the different blocks. Yeah, and if you are five, each one of you can take 5 minutes and read it and talk about it. So try to answer the following questions: who carried out the research? Who found it? Yeah, the second about the what. What did the researchers do? Was the study looking at a dish, a mice, or a patient? Okay, now with the where was the article published? Why this is important? Because we need to see the impact factor. Yeah, if it was uh, if it was a high impact factor, it was a low impact factor. Uh, so, and what is the implication of the impact factor? Okay, so later we are going to talk a little bit about more about these topics, and we are going to discuss that in class. But again, here what I wanted to tell you is that this is not easy to do, and this is why a news that it come from something very complex need to be communicated, and it can be terribly communicated. So you saw you saw all these damn things, and this is why I missed the entire lecture, because I couldn't believe what I was seeing, and I was like, how this happened? Is this true? How, And I have to tell you, all these stories start not in a blog. It start because Times magazine, such an important journal, wrote that farts can cure cancer. Yeah, and then of course, a few hours later, that website, that blog of that part of Times Magazine, it was removed and it was rewrote. Yeah, but it's still, but it was already in the internet, so it was a sensation, and many people uh, start taking advantage of that, and say, like, so you saw all the different type of blogs. So some of them were just for fun, they have no scientific explanation, or ones are more involved into science communication. So they were showing that, and they were showing what kind of things are true and what things are wrong, and how to explain that information in the best way. Okay, so in class we will talk more about that. Here, I think this is the key information that I wanted that you think about it, and I hope that you laugh a little bit about and also think about how important is science communication. Okay, so have a good day and bye.